Hi, my name is Manuel Chacon. I'm going to present you English level B1, Master 2, and it comes in the Unit 7. Unit 7 says personality traits. The vocabulary in this part is to describe someone like academic, accurate, adaptable, calm, dedicated, flexible, or formal, or etc. etc. And another part of the unit says the adverbs of modifying adjectives and verbs. And adverbs that modify adjectives come before the adjectives. Like an example of this is you are pretty ambitious or you are extremely curious and outgoing. Adverbs that modify verbs that go after the verb of the verb and its object. An example of this is you don't work well without direction. Or another example is trying to make decisions quickly. Another part of the unit says giving and asking for agreement. For giving opinion, you could use, and in my opinion, I don't know if you ask me, I don't know if that's not correct. Maybe just me, but I think it's impossible, or for example. And for asking for agreement, you can use whether you say that, or do you think so, or do you think that's true. The present perfect with for and signs. We use the perfect the present perfect to describe an action that began in the past and continues to now. Use for to specify the amount of time, or use signs to specify the starting point. An example of this is how long have you been friends? We have been friends for 6 years, and we have been friends since middle school. Another example is she's been upset for several days, or I haven't spoken to her since last weekend. With Unit 8, we have the environmental impacts. The vocabulary of this part is like recycle, is public transport, plastic bottles, recycling, and contamination, pollution, everything that has to be with the environment. The quantifiers. The quantifiers with countdowns is an example of this is we need more wine farms. There aren't enough recycling bins. There are too many bottles in landfills, or people should buy fewer plastic bottles. The quantifiers with non-count nouns, and an example of this just says you can save more money with TFLS, and people don't buy enough organic food. Uh, Regular light bulbs use too much energy, or people should try to use less plastic. For giving and avoiding answering. For give an approximate answer, you can say, I will say about, I don't know, $10. I will say maybe last weekend or probably yesterday. And for avoiding an answer, you will say, I would rather not to say, I prefer not to say, or I would rather not to answer that. Tips to help the environment. The vocabulary in this part says how we can help the environment, like we can recycle, we can plant trees, we go vegetarian, we could use less plastic, we could use a bike or walk to work, and use glass bottles instead of plastics and everything like that. The first conditional. The first conditional sentences describe real possibilities. Use the present tense in the if clause, the condition, or use will in the main clause. An example of this is if we take public transportation, we will save money. If we take public transportation, we won't get stressed out, and air pollution will get worse if we don't reduce the number of cars. We use modals such as many, might, or could in the main clause when you are less certain about the results. Like, if air pollution gets worse, more people may get sick. And if you don't fix your leaky faucet, you might get a high water bill. Or you could spend money on other things if you grow your own food. Closing with your unit 8, we have unit 9, the relationship behaviors. The vocabulary on this part is like loving, harmonious, wholesome, happy, beneficial, strong, solid, and etc. Like in this table. Expressions with infinitives. We use infinitives after it plus an adjective like it's good to forgive someone or it's important to talk. You can also use infinitives after it plus a noun phrase like it's a good idea to accept an apology or it's not a good idea to criticize someone. Apologizing and accepting an apology. For apologizing, you can say, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, or my apologies. And for accepting an apology, oh, that's okay, don't worry about it, or there's no need to apologize. The inseparable phrasal verbs. And these are the look up to admire or respect someone, to pick on, bully or tease someone, to run against, compete against in an election, see about, deal with something, do what is required, and everything like that, like in this example. Morals for speculating. Speculating with more certainty. And an example of this can be he must be really busy. He started a new job. He must not he must not leave his house very often. He always seems to be busy. He can be upset with me. I haven't done anything to him. And speculating with less certainty is he could be upset about something. Maybe you did something to him. He may not like his new job. I haven't heard how he likes it. He might be feeling stressed out. His new job may be a lot of work. And the unit 10 we have the qualities for success. The vocabulary of this part is like acceptable, acclaim, beaming, caring, careful, consistent, constant, desirous, domestic, curative, classic, and all of the list. In the reflexive pronouns, we use reflexive pronouns when the subject and object of a sentence refer to the same person or thing. An example of this can be I hurt myself at work, he taught himself to play golf, or they consider themselves brave. By with a reflexive pronoun means alone, like she traveled by herself to the United States. Or do you like to practice with another person or by yourself? Advising and considering advice. For advising against something, you can say, I would recommend that, or I don't think you should do that, or I'm not sure that's the best idea. And for considering advice, you can say, I will see, I will think about it, or I will give it some thought. The separable phrasal verbs. The vocabulary in this part is like back up, cause to move backward, cheer up, cause to become happier, give back, return, or call up, telephone someone. The second conditional. The second conditional sentence describe unreal or imaginary situations. We use a past tense verb if the if clause the condition. We use the main clause. An example of this can be, what would you do if you had more money? And if you had more money, I would buy a camera. We use were for the past tense of be in the condition. Would you travel if you were rich? Yes, I would. The negative answer can be no, I wouldn't. Yes, if I were rich, I would travel a lot. And the negative answer could be no, I wouldn't travel a lot if I were rich. With the last unit, Unit 11, compound adjectives, the vocabulary of this part is the adjective plus the past participle, like old fashioned, dark hair, or the adverb past participle, well established, densely populated, or the noun and adjective like world famous or book smart. Past passive. The passive voice places the focus of a sentence on the receiver of an action instead of the doer of the action. In active voice, the simple past, an example can be fans downloaded over 1 million albums. And the passive voice, the past of be, plus the past participle, it says over 1 million albums were downloaded. We use the passive voice when the door of the action is not known or not important. An example can be the game was released in 2008. It doesn't say who released it. When the doer of the action is important to know, we use the passive voice with by. And an example of this is the first rap recording was made by the Sugar Hill Gang. For giving instructions. For beginning instructions, you can say first, you start doing this, and to start, you can do this instead of that, or the first thing you do is open your app on your cell phone. And for continuing instructions, you can say next, you click on that, then you close the app, or after that, you finish the app. And for ending instructions, you can say finally, you click accept. To finish, you close the app, or the last thing you do is click on close. Verb and noun formation. The vocabulary of this part says like distract, justify, protect, protective, decisive, creative, and everything on the table. For the present perfect with yet on already, in questions we use yet when you expect the actions to have happened. An example can be have you gotten your ticket yet? And in responses already means the action has happened earlier. The answer could be yes, I have already gotten a ticket. In responses, yet means the action hasn't happened, but you expect to do it. And the answer could be no, I haven't gotten a ticket yet. And that's everything.